Let me ask you something. Have you ever loved a woman so deeply that you gave her everything? Your time, your energy, your loyalty, only for her to treat you like you didn't even exist? You texted first, you called, you planned dates, and in return, she ignored you, played games, or acted like she didn't care. But here's where it gets interesting. The moment you stopped chasing, the moment you stopped caring, she suddenly started noticing you. Suddenly she was the one reaching out. Texting, calling, wondering why you weren't begging for her attention anymore. It's confusing, right? Almost like the less you care, the more she does. That's because women can't resist men who detach. If you're ready to turn the tables in your love life, if you want her to chase you instead of taking you for granted, then stay with me until the end. Because this isn't just another lesson, it's the raw, unfiltered truth about attraction. And before we get into it, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video, because what you're about to hear could completely change the way you see love and relationships. Let's dive in. Chapter 1. You loved her, she ignored you. May I inquire of you something? When was the last time you fell head over heels for someone? You treated her like royalty by showering her with your undivided attention, your undying devotion, and your time. What about payment? She paid you no mind. For many hours, if not days, she kept your communications on read. She was unresponsive when you phoned her. Just as you were planning to meet up, she found herself unexpectedly too busy. Things were very different in the start of the relationship, though. She was enthusiastic at the beginning. Your conversation was on her mind. She preferred to meet with you in person. Your quips made her chuckle. Let her be the one to text you initially. Therefore, what transpired? Why did she behave indifferent even after you gave her your all? Why? Because women don't place a high value on things that are given to them. I understand that sounds harsh. Imagine, then, how quickly we take something for granted when it is readily available. Simply said, we don't appreciate air until it's too late. Just like how we tend to disregard water until we actually need it. She was aware of your constant presence. No amount of ignoring you would prevent you from texting, she realized. You would continue to call despite her several missed calls. You would patiently await her arrival, disregarding her repeated cancellations. Plus, a woman will stop trying so hard to get your undivided attention once she realizes you have it. For that reason, loving a woman more than she loves you is the gravest error a guy can do. Simply said, she will no longer regard you as a prize once she realizes she is the one. I have another question for you now. Just how many times have you gone back and read her your previous messages? You know, the ones where you really let your emotions shine? The ones when you sincerely wanted her to know how much you valued her? After mailing them, how often did you feel foolish? Is that excruciating chest pain? Feeling that void when her response fell short of your expectations? It's like someone is taking you for granted. Plus, it's among the most excruciating aches a guy may go through. However, the bright side is this. Does this discomfort? It's more of a lesson than anything else. A harsh and unpleasant lesson, but one that will alter the course of your romantic life, irrevocably if you absorb it. The moment you come to terms with the fact that women aren't captivated by men who adore them, but about the guy who piques their interest, fills them with apprehension and excitement, at that point, you will see that it was a mistake to give up control. This brings us to our next sobering reality. Chapter 2. You gave her everything, she took you for granted. Consider a moment when a female went absolutely bonkers for you. Perhaps it happened while the couple was just starting out. Perhaps it happened long before you began dating. She was constantly sending you texts. Your presence energized her. She longed for you to notice her. However, a shift occurred afterwards. She began to distance herself. The moment you began to prioritize her and give her your undivided attention. Maybe she's just busy, you likely reasoned to yourself. Yeah, that's wrong. Now that she didn't have to exert herself to earn your affection, she was losing her allure. Attraction, you see, isn't based on security but on risk and adventure. She made an attempt even though she was confused about her position with you. She made an effort to wow you whenever she was unsure that you were paying attention. You were valued by her when she thought you would be gone. When you finally let her have it all, and she thought, this man will always be here for me, no matter what, you lost her appreciation. We may move on to the most common blunder that guys do in this scenario now. They freak out if they sense a lady slipping away. Their number of texts increases. More calling, to check on her well-being, affording her presence, making more efforts to demonstrate their devotion. Why is that even necessary? It causes her to withdraw even more. Why? Because she has moved on from viewing you as a man she desires to a man. She has won over. Plus, once a woman has something, she doesn't want more of it. That's why it's so tragic when men give women their everything, and then watch as they go as if it were for nothing. And let's be honest, that level of agony, it's too much. You start to doubt your value as a result. Doing so makes you question your actions. A sense of inadequacy is ingrained in you. The reality, though, is you weren't insufficient in and of yourself. She got too much from you. Allow me to pose a question to you now. What if you weren't the one everyone ignored any more? How would it make you feel? What if you stopped going after unappreciative women and started being the man they chase after instead? For the simple reason that everything changes the moment you master the art of detachment. Finally, the one most effective thing you can do to improve your romantic life is Chapter 3. Pull away and she'll chase. Let's discuss something that has happened to every male at some point. A lady you meet first shows signs of interest in you. She responds to your texts, cracks up at your jokes, and shows signs of flirting. At last, I've met someone who likes me, you think to yourself. Is that so? You begin to pay greater attention to her. In the mornings, you always text first. You are really prompt in responding. Suddenly, she occupies your thoughts constantly, and gradually, a shift occurs. She begins to respond more slowly. It appears that her enthusiasm has diminished. She begins to act aloof or cancel plans. You start to have a sense of impending doom. What's happening? Did I do something wrong? Maybe if I just try harder, she'll come back. Consequently, you do what comes naturally. You step up your game. Even more so, you text, make sure she's okay by calling her. You resolve to get back the girl who showed interest in you before, and her activities. Still further away, she withdraws. Why? Reason being, she is aware that you are accessible to her. Furthermore, once a woman realizes she has you, she will no longer exert herself to get your attention. But what if you were to do the exact reverse? When you stop chasing and start pulling away, what happens? All of a sudden, things shift. Why isn't he texting me anymore? She wonders. Is he losing interest? Did he find someone else? At this point, she is the one doing all the overthinking, not you. Rather than you anxiously waiting for her message, she is the one who checks to see whether you have texted. The strength of separation lies in this very reason. It is commonly believed among males that one must resort to physical force in order to win a woman's affection. They believe that she will eventually value them if they express their concern for her. However, the reality is that women aren't fooled by guys who grovel for their affection. When they fear losing the man they're seeing, they give in to his charms. Remember your own relationships from the past if you still don't trust me. As soon as you decided to put your own needs before hers and quit pursuing her, didn't she start acting differently at that very moment? The reason for this is that as one separates, mystery is introduced. Mysteries captivate women. This leads us to the last hurdle in the attraction test. Chapter 4. You let go, she came back. Let us now discuss the most agonizing experience that every male has had. You were enamored. To the core. You believed she was the one for you. Working with her, you plotted out your future. You fantasized about spending every morning with her at your side. And afterwards she departed. Perhaps boredom set in. Perhaps she mentioned the necessity for space. Perhaps there was no reason because she simply stopped responding. It killed you regardless of the cause. You entered a state of mental overload. Why is she doing this? Does she even care? How can she just forget about me like that? I will wait for her, you promised yourself. I'll see her again. Nevertheless, such was not the case with her. You gave it your all then. Someone texted her. She was reminded of the enjoyable moments by you. Perhaps if she understood how much she meant to you, she might return, you thought, as you poured your heart out. Nevertheless, such was not the case with her. Not immediately, at least. However, a shift occurred afterwards. Waiting became tedious for you. At last you had the epiphany, I need to move on. As a result, you finally broke your habit of dwelling on her constantly, which had persisted for months. You ceased to monitor her social media accounts. Your texting ceased. Next thing you know, she returned. You suddenly received a text message. Hey there. Hey, how's it going? The carefree girl started stretching out all of a sudden. Why? Reason being, she sensed your absence. Until it's gone, women don't appreciate what they have. She had no cause to crave for your presence. so long as she knew you would be waiting for her. However, her fear of losing you intensified the second she sensed you were sliding away. She began desiring you once again after that. On the other hand, consider the following question. Will you even accept her return? If her love for you was genuine, why would she let the pain of losing you bring it to light? Actually, a lady who cares about you would never make you let go. In order for her to appreciate you, you don't need games to have a genuine connection. To capture her attention, detachment is unnecessary. And once you know that, you won't squander time on someone who wasn't interested in you to begin with. Now we arrive at the most profound lesson of all. Chapter 5. Silence is a man's ultimate weapon. May I inquire of you something? Can you remember a time when you really wanted a lady to understand how much she meant to you, and you emptied your heart out to her? You expressed your love for her in lengthy texts, apologized for things that weren't your fault, and pleaded with her to know it. And her actions? Either she didn't care about you or her response was distant and icy. It was like someone stuck a dagger in your chest, wasn't it? Only put, you believe that maybe she'll change her mind. If you could only convey your deepest feelings for her. However, I will tell you the reality. When a lady has decided to leave you, no amount of talking will change her mind. She really gets more distant the more you try to explain things to her and plead for her help. Then how can we fix it? Absolute quiet. The power of quiet surpasses that of speech in every respect. It makes her feel as though you're not there. It irritates women when you don't text when they expect you to. Your unexpected disappearance might shock her confidence. When she's used to you being available all the time, changes in power occur when she learns the guy she had come to rely on is no longer patiently waiting. Plus, I understand your thought process. But what if she moves on? Could you tell me what's worse? An empathetic lady who stays with you despite your relentless pursuit of her? Alternatively, a lady who doesn't appreciate you until she's missed you a little bit. Remaining silent is not a game. Respect for oneself is at stake. You regain control of your life when you quit spending words on those who don't value them. Then a fascinating thing occurs. You begin to pique her interest. Why isn't he texting me? Is he mad at me? Has he found someone else? All of a sudden, the once confident lady begins to question her own abilities. At that point, she begins to make contact, return to her heart at that moment. However, at that point, the true inquiry is, who wants her anymore? You! Finally, the most potent truth has been revealed. Chapter 6. Walk away and you'll win. This is a terrible moment in every man's life. The point at which a choice must be made. Do I keep chasing her, or do I finally walk away? What I mean is that this choice will have far-reaching consequences for your life. Simply said, the truth is harsh. The victor is the one who exits the scene first. I understand your thought process now. But what if I love her? What if she's my soulmate? What if I never find someone like her again? Your emotions are expressing themselves. That's the anguish of attachment, anxiety, and broken hearts. I have another question, though. Was there ever a moment when she was hesitant to leave you? Did she spend nights inconsolable, questioning whether she had made a mistake? On the other hand, did she just walk away, counting on you to plead, chase, and wait? You see, ladies admire males who can just walk away. The majority of males lack that kind of power. As long as she returns, most men will remain mired in grief. Those guys, nonetheless, who succeed in love and in life. They move quickly. They refuse to pursue. They just disappear without a trace. The hilarious thing is this. When you finally separate from something, when you let go, miraculous things begin to happen. She returns. On occasion. Surprisingly frequently. For the simple reason that she has a new perspective. She isn't necessary for her guy. And that is too good to pass up. Why? Because women prefer not to be needed by males. A guy who selects them is what they seek, but they also want someone who can stand firm when he is underappreciated. The true takeaway from this is that pursuing love will not give you the strength you need as a man. Knowing when to step away is the key. Because when you do, it's not simply love that you win. You succeed in life. Final thoughts. Well, the secret is out now. Women aren't fooled by males who shower them with gifts. As a result, they are captivated by men who have self-respect enough to leave. I guarantee that the next video will further deepen your understanding of attraction. So if you found this video helpful, subscribe to the channel and press the like button. And with that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.